My boyfriend's childhood sweetheart had a terminal illness. The kind that came from a misdiagnosis. So on the day Chase proposed to me, she decided to be reckless, confessing her love in the name of passion. Under the glare of every eye, he chased, she fled, she couldn't fly away, and my heart was torn to shreds. In the end, they smashed through every obstacle and got their fairy tale ending. I lost everyone I loved and was forced to leave town. After I was reborn, I listened to my friend's familiar accusations and smiled without a word. The best way to beat a guilt trip is to tie the rope back around their necks, not for naught. I mean, come on. Who doesn't have a friend with a terminal illness? Before we go on, hit subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. I found a no-name actor online, 10 grand a month. All he had to do was play my terminally ill guy friend. He agreed so fast it was scary. Close my eyes, kick my legs, done deal, he joked. But on the big day he texted, something came up, sending a replacement. I shrugged. As long as the job got done. The elevator to the lobby dinged open. I hurried in and noticed a tall guy in the corner. Face blank, he stared at his phone, the overhead light glazed his hair like liquid gold, his features so perfect they looked airbrushed. But his skin was a whole shade paler than normal, and weariness clung to his eyes like mist. Like a tragic prince straight out of a manga. I swallowed the thought, afraid of staring, and quickly looked away. My original contact had said the stand-in would already be upstairs, so I dialed the number he'd given. A ringtone blared right behind me and almost sent me jumping out of my heels. Didn't think twice. Hello? Then I heard the same low voice in my ear and through the speaker, hi. Seriously? I whipped around. The guy's lips curved slowly, and in that instant every bit of frost melted. Hazel? I blinked, then nodded. Never dreamed the substitute would be this hot. But with the dog couple waiting upstairs, I rattled off the plan at light speed. Bottom line, be fake innocent. The faker the better. I trust your professionalism. Milo, already introduced, smiled. Consider it done. The door slid open, I took one step and twisted my ankle. Milo caught me before I hit marble. At the exact same moment the whole waiting crowd saw us in a full clinch. Hazel? What are you doing here, and who is that? Chase stared, face darkening like I'd handed him a green hat. Hazel! Skylar shrieked. I trusted you, pushed you toward my brother, and you sneak off with another man. How could you do this to him? Gossip goggles snapped on. Ooh, live cheating scene, juicy. Skylar kept yelling for maximum audience. Bro, you gave her everything, even the proposal dinner, and she sneaks to the hospital to cuddle a stranger. Disgusting. Random onlookers joined the chorus, acting like they'd witnessed every filthy detail. Hold on. Milo had merely steadied me. How did that turn into ironclad proof? Truly the best at calling white black. I signaled Milo to let go, swept my eyes over Tessa cradled in Chase's arms, and spoke calmly. Skylar, you've got it wrong. Milo and I are just friends. I almost fell, he caught me. Besides, Chase is holding Tessa, does that mean he's cheating too? The crowd suddenly noticed the silent girl in his embrace. Skylar snapped, bull. They're just friends. I beamed. Exactly. Milo and I are just friends too. Everyone thought it over, yeah, no problem. You have your friend, I have mine, a quick catch, not a kiss. Tessa lifted her eyes, voice frail. Jiang, I know you blame me for ruining your proposal dinner, and you even came to the hospital to block us. Don't worry, I'll leave right now and stay out of your sight. Chase's heart broke at her trembling willow act, then he turned on me. Tessa's sick, why can't you quit being petty and let her enjoy the time she has left? I almost laughed myself sick. Shameless much? Came to block you, gee. E.T. over yourselves. Milo read the room, coughed delicately, and leaned on me. My chest feels tight, let's find the doctor before he's tired of waiting. Out of sight, out of mind, I could discuss them later. I played along, sliding an arm around him. Let's go. Chase watched us leave, face stormy. Skylar muttered, since when does Hazel have a new bestie that close? Side piece, you think? Chase said nothing, but something inside him twisted. Once we were around the corner Milo straightened and grinned. His face was charcoal. Jiang. I winked. Nice work. From now on call me Hazel, no loose threads. His smile widened. What's next? Thinking of the cheater and his fake martyr, my mouth curled. Why, follow-up strikes, while we're winning. Remembering how Chase had dumped me at the proposal dinner still made me shake. The scene replayed in HD. Hazel, Tessa's dying, where's your compassion? Chase is only looking after her. Right. They're friends, deathbed help is basic decency. My 2-inch besties, Lauren and Morgan, scolded me like I was the villain. As though my anger were a capital crime. In reality, the man who loved me had sprinted after his little sweetheart the second he heard the word terminal. I was left alone in the banquet hall, abandoned. Well, not totally. I still had those two saints pushing me to bless the scumbag and his saint. Now, reborn, I only smiled, gentle and magnanimous. I get it, they're soulmates. So even if Chase walks out on our proposal dinner, I understand. Lauren, gearing up for a lecture, blinked, sensing something off, but nodded. Good, because Tessa's dying, Chase will still be yours afterward. I kept smiling. I used to believe that. One misstep, and the whole game slides. After I soothed our parents and guests, Chase called. Hazel, are my folks furious? Translation, he hadn't given a thought to my humiliation or heartbreak. I pictured his parents nearly fainting from their son's stunt, lifted my voice, sweet as syrup. It's fine. Uncle A. Andy auntie understand, Tessa's dying, you should keep her company. After all, she's loved you for years. On the other end, Chase remembered Tessa's teary 10-year confession and softened. But the proposal dinner still nagged at him. Sorry, I didn't expect this. I'll make it up to you. I coldly tugged my lip. Please don't. You two deserve each other. Stay the hell away from me. I could have exposed Tessa's fake illness right then. But then I'd still be engaged to Chase. The thought felt like stepping in dog poop on the sidewalk, nauseating and sticky. So they absolutely, positively had to stay together. It didn't take long to hear they'd moved into an estate. Coincidentally, the one meant to be our marital mansion. Tessa wanted to be buried in a sea of flowers before she died. Our backyard had exactly that. So they just moved in. Every carefully chosen decor piece became a prop for their love story. With my plan in motion, I hauled my luggage over that same night and invited my two generous friends. Otherwise, lone man lone woman, scandalous, right? More people, less gossip. Last time they'd used that same excuse. They forgot Chase and I were the official couple, kept pushing him toward Tessa. They excused everything, called even a kiss an accident, and guilt-tripped me. Why so heartless? Tessa's dying, stop nitpicking. The place turned into a reality show war zone, fights every 3 days, explosions every 7. Tessa always apologized pitifully, vowing to leave while clinging to Chase in tearful farewells. So Chase always took her side. Cramps during my period, he told me to drink cold water. For her, he ran out at midnight for heat patches and painkillers. I ran a 102-degree fever after getting caught in rain, half delirious, while they enjoyed a candle-lit dinner. I kept asking when he'd marry me, he always said wait. Tessa appeared and he could dump me just like that. I couldn't grasp how anyone could be so shameless. A decent ex should stay as dead as ashes. If he knew she was dying, why come back to ruin someone else's life? So I fought tooth and nail to split them. This lifetime? I'll handcuff them together myself. When Mom and Dad heard I'd moved in, they ordered me home for dinner. Every sentence probed how I felt about Chase. Before, they'd thought he could do no wrong. Now they saw his wandering heart. He hadn't cleaned up his mess before trampling their daughter. Infuriating. Sweetie, you're really living there together? Reading their rage, I rubbed my nose. Couldn't confess I was over him, still had revenge to serve, so I mumbled, for a while. Mom and Dad exchanged glances and sighed. If you're hurt, come home. Plenty of good men out there, we can always feed one more mouth. Dad ended with a somber decree. My nose stung. In the last life I'd fled overseas to save face. When I finally came around, news arrived that they'd died in a crash. I was truly alone. Thank heaven for a second take. I decided, the best antidote to a guilt trip is to strap the same guilt right back on them. Come on, anyone can rent a dying friend. So when Chase's group came home, they saw me helping Milo out of a cab. He looked lethargic, skin pale, tall frame draped over me, elegant as fine porcelain. Picture a kept man about to enter the main house. Only Chase's face blackened, everyone else just gawked. Suddenly Milo coughed a few times. I patted his solid chest in mock concern. You okay? He shook his head. I'm fine. Then, eyes swimming with emotion, he caught my hand. Thank you for going to the hospital with me. I hate that place. I'll be relying on you a while longer. I beamed. No problem, what are friends for? The stunned audience, déjà vu, big time. Inside, I made introductions. Everyone, this is my good friend Milo, you met him at the hospital this afternoon. He'll be staying with us, please take good care of him. Hello. Milo greeted softly, punctuated by another cough, reminding everyone of his frail health. Chase lashed out. Oh. F nowhere. We've been together this long, how come I've never heard of this friend? I opened my mouth, but Milo beat me to it. We haven't known each other long, just a few days. Then he dropped his gaze and chuckled, delivering the bombshell, but it was love at first sight for me. She knows I'm dying and didn't have the heart to turn me down. If you need someone to blame, blame me. I'll be dead soon anyway. He ended with another soft cough, his eyes flat and gray. Chase had never met a male fake innocent like this. His lips parted, but no words came. Tessa frowned. Moving into someone's house after 2 days? That's not okay. Plus, Hazel's still Chase's fiancée. Milo flicked her a cool glance, then lowered his head as if wounded. Ahem. I'm so sorry for intruding. I heard you'd moved into their marital mansion and thought it was allowed. My mistake. I thought, damn, bro, nice play, this deserves a raise. Chase's face changed in an instant. He looked at me anxiously. Hazel, I didn't bring her here on purpose. Tessa just loves the flowers in the garden, and the environment's better. I nodded understandingly and cut him off. Sure. You two making out on the balcony was just CPR, I totally get it. In my last life I hadn't found out until much later. Back then I was about to leave the country when Tessa came to kick me while I was down, gloating about how Chase was crazy for her. Chase had only ever held my hand, respect, he'd called it. Ha. Thinking about it now, the irony stings. For a second the living room fell dead silent. Chase and Tessa were probably wondering when I'd seen them. I glanced at the pair and decided the old me, the one who'd screamed the moment she spotted them, had been an idiot. Once a dog's eaten crap, how can you expect it to change its mind? You should just let it keep eating crap. Because I was acting so generous, even Lauren and Morgan couldn't find fault. What were they going to say, that I didn't sound happy enough? While the air solidify. Milo poured on more fuel. Funny, that balcony's tiny. CPR standing up? Guess you could give me some too, then. I answered matter-of-factly, sure, we're besties after all. Chase, what the hell, besties my ass. Enough. Chase barked. Hazel, you think I humiliated you at the altar, so you hired some actor to piss me off? I itched to slap the smirk off his face. So he knew. But I kept spinning lies. Not me. Never happened. Milo nodded along. Ashford, don't be angry. It's all my fault. I shamelessly clung to Hazel. Blame me. Tessa's cheeks burned. If he was shameless, what did that make her? Something even filthier? Suddenly her chest tightened and she blacked out. Tessa. Chase scooped her up and sprinted upstairs. Lauren and Morgan turned to scold me out of habit. Then Milo coughed hard, color draining from his face, until a mouthful of blood splattered the floor. Milo. I hadn't expected this stunt either. I hooked an arm around him and hurried him to the second floor. Lauren and Morgan shut their mouths, muttering inside, yikes, look serious. Could he be terminal too? The instant the door shut Milo perked up. Seeing my frown, he grinned. Relax, spontaneous blood spitting now and then. Looks scary, harmless really. Still dubious, I exhaled when I met his bright eyes. You scared me. Thought they actually pissed you off that badly, then I'd be guilty. He rubbed his nose. So, I'm staying? Obviously. The deed's in my name, he can't object. In my last life those two had tricked me into selling, skimming a fat cut for themselves. This debt had to be repaid. Minutes later Chase knocked. Seeing Milo pale in bed, he asked cautiously, I heard he coughed blood? They'd just come from the hospital. The guy was fragile, liable to drop dead any second, emotions strictly controlled. Grisly, in a word. I gave him a flat stare. He's asleep. Need anything else? Remembering his mission, Chase added, move to another room. A man and a woman alone, people will talk. Lauren Ch. Immed in at once, right, totally inappropriate. I smiled thinly, acid lacing my tone. When Tessa fainted a few days ago you watched over her all night without changing clothes. Chase grew irritable. She's a patient. What could I possibly do? I batted my lashes. Exactly, Milo's a patient. What could I possibly do? Chase choked, speechless. I let out a cold laugh, dying to boot the cheater into next week. In my last life Tessa fainted on cue. Chase nursed her until they shared a bed, accidentally, of course. Accidentally, with their clothes off? Disgusting. And Lauren and Morgan had claimed they'd only cuddled, still pure, telling me to let it go. After all, Tessa was dying, humor her. Back then I'd swallowed the injustice. Now I knew it was garbage. Chase wouldn't quit. Then let me take care of him. I looked at him like he was nuts. No can do. Tessa still needs you. I cherish you too much to let you juggle two patients. Plus Lauren and Morgan barely know Milo, awkward much? And the bed's only so big, planning a group cuddle? Cornered, Chase darkened. Suit yourself. He stalked off. Lauren and Morgan muttered excuses and left. Milo opened his eyes. They wrap their sleeves in righteousness, huh? I burst out laughing. Tell me about it. Over Chase's protests Milo stayed, his room separated from mine by a single wall. He offered to cook, I wanted no part of the others, so I helped. I was rinsing scallions when he leaned in from behind to reach the spices, an angle that boxed me in against the counter. I stiffened, heart racing. Even with Chase I'd only ever held hands, no one had stood this close, in this kind of pose. Just as I was about to tell him to back off, a roar cracked through the kitchen. What the hell are you doing? Chase yanked Milo away so roughly his hip slammed the table edge. He let out a stifled groan, face twisting. You psycho. I shot Chase a glare and checked Milo for injuries. To me Chase was just throwing another tantrum. His eyes were bloodshot. He was all over you and you didn't feel it? Groping at breakfast, what am I, air? I frowned, annoyance dripping. Making eggs counts as groping? Then what you two did behind my back must be outright adultery. Remembering how he and Tessa had handled breakfast lately, Chase lost his voice. He sulked through the meal, too angry to bring Tessa her plate. Not my problem, I'm no saint. Gossip spreads faster than wildfire. I'd never been popular at the firm, yet everyone knew the fiasco at the engagement party. Even the usual bullies faked concern to fish for updates. After fending off several delegations I understood the saying, give 3 women a sidewalk and they'll start an opera. I thought I'd still have to pick the right moment to dump Chase. But when I came home from work the scent of booze hit me. I groped for the light switch, a slender, strong hand caught my wrist. I jumped, stumbling backward into Milo's chest. Don't turn it on, he murmured, voice warm against my ear. I whispered back, why not? He bent slightly. I tensed, realizing that under the frail act he was solid muscle, his nearness unexpectedly imposing. Pinned, I didn't dare move. Unfazed, he went on, here's the smoking gun you needed. Before I could parse that, my night-adjusted eyes caught Chase and Tessa tangled on the couch, faces flushed, both drunk. I blinked. They're plastered? Milo's tone curled in amusement. Didn't you want to dump the cheater? They just handed you the excuse. I fell silent, certain they'd rolled like this in my last life too. How could Chase sleep around and still claim he loved me? So what's the plan? Milo straightened, chuckling. Payback in kind. After filming we took a deep breath. I snapped the lights on, shrieking, what the hell are you doing? Lauren stumbled out, groggy. Hazel, what's with the yelling? Chase, naked and suddenly spotlighted, yanked the blanket, exposing Tessa, her skin mottled purple and blue. Lauren and Morgan aren't naive, the moment they aspied what had happened their eyes bulged. The second Tessa's body was bare I spun and covered Milo's eyes. The abrupt motion looked like I was throwing myself at him. He steadied my waist. It's okay, I closed them. I pulled my hand back, flustered. Oh. Chase climbed into his clothes, face stormy. Hazel, let me explain. I rolled my eyes mentally and dropped the bomb, forget it. We're done. What? Chase held. Tessa woke, took one look, and went white. He scrambled. We only had a few drinks, nothing happened. Ready to curse, I felt Milo's subtle squeeze and bit back the rage. Chase caught the gesture and pivoted. Was it him? Did he poison you against me? For once I wasn't alone. I nodded sweetly, intent on crushing him. You always said I'm petty, that I should humor a dying woman. Milo taught me you were right. For whatever time he has left, I want to be there, so we'd better break up, don't you think? I couldn't stand them for one more day, so I sent Chase's parents every piece of dirt I had on him and Tessa. Attached note, congratulations, your son upgraded to a better girlfriend. From here on out, may we live on opposite sides of the world and never meet again. Mr. and Ashford exploded. Who's Tessa? A dying girl. They were fine with Chase being charitable, but letting a dying stranger step through the Ashford front door? Unthinkable. No matter what kind of spin the elders tried to put on it, with Milo's help the story streaked through Riverdale's group chats before lunchtime. Everyone loves popcorn when the drama isn't theirs. Half the heiresses texted me fake sympathy dripping with schadenfreude. In their minds Chase and I had been inches from the altar, only to be wrecked by a terminal third wheel, infuriating. A few insisted I must have cheated and was rightfully dumped, but one follow-up question cleared that up fast. Terminal childhood friend? Sure, we all have one, perfectly fair. Besides, Lauren and Morgan had already leaked my original version. Chase abandoned his fiancée mid-engagement party for a sick childhood buddy and let the town gossip run wild. I ended things cleanly so nobody could accuse me of cruelty. Compare the two and the moral scoreboard lights up. Even Lauren and Morgan admitted Chase and Tessa's stunt felt tacky. They said, if you want to nurse a sick friend, fine, but break up first. Otherwise every single gesture reeks. Plot twist, Tessa called me. Wind howled behind her, she was clearly on the riverbank. Hazel, please don't break up with Chase. Her voice cracked, heartbroken yet determined. I stayed silent, curious what performance she'd deliver. Beside me Milo lifted an eyebrow, leaning his tall frame closer to eavesdrop. On impulse I skipped the speaker button. Sniffling traveled down the line. When I'm gone, please take care of Chase for me. My face chilled. The hand-me-down groom tone grated. Sure you don't want a second hospital opinion? I asked icily. She was too busy rehearsing her lines to register. Watching my patience evaporate, Milo chuckled and plucked a grape from the bowl. What? I whispered. Washed and ready, he said, popping it between my lips. Juicy, delicious. So while she poured out her monologue, we fed each other grapes, lazy and content. I know you hate me and your furious Chase left you for someone terminal, she sobbed. I'm stepping aside, but Milo looked sketchy. Ditch him soon or Chase will be hurt. Who did she think she was? Annoyed, I hung up. Milo pinched my puffed cheek. We clocked them ages ago. Why the temper? I opened my mouth, then shut it. Why was I angry? Because she'd dissed Milo? I glanced at him, raven hair tousled, fox narrow eyes flicking my way, decadent even under sickroom pallor. Unease nudged me. Your illness, it's fake, right? Normal people don't cough blood on cue. He deflected, surprised by the change of topic. I realized I knew nothing about the man I'd hired beyond his name. Why let myself care? Time to wrap this show up. Next afternoon Chase barged in. His parents had summoned him, now he let loose the moment he crossed the threshold. Hazel, why did you drive Tessa out? If Lauren hadn't noticed she was missing, she'd be wandering the streets alone. Milo curled his fingers over my clenched fist, drawling, what, is she 3? Can't survive without a keeper? Chase glared, then turned on me like I'd murdered his puppy. She's a girl, someone could hurt her. How would you sleep? Milo's expression iced over, suddenly lethal. And Hazel's her what? Meal ticket, bodyguard, parole officer? Chase's sanctimony would have choked me, but Milo's reflexive defense loosened the knot. Recalling Tessa's theatrics last night, I sighed theatrically. You're the one who failed her. She begged to stay, why didn't you promise her something real? She's dying, give the girl a title. Chase swallowed, then played the pity card. I was protecting you. I know you love me, but Tessa's loved me forever. She doesn't have long. For my sake, stop punishing her. Milo snorted, malicious and possessive. Such a big head. Hazel already dumped you. Newsflash, you're rotten beneath the polish. Still not done, he slid an arm around my waist and coughed theatrically. These days Hazel's busy nursing me. I like her, a lot. I'm terminal anyway, so how about a little generosity, bro? Chase turned colors at the public cuckolding. His pain lit up my day. Exactly. Milo's fragile, stop being petty. I'd lifted the line from Chase's own greatest hits. He gaped as though we'd confessed to murder. What did you say? I looked at Lauren and Morgan. Fair, right? They nodded. Totally reasonable. Chase sputtered. How can you side with her? Lauren and Morgan exchanged glances. We always have. Back in my bedroom I finally cracked up. You're lethal, hilarious. Milo curved his eyes, silent, thinking, Hazel's amazing, too bad she'll be mine soon. Wanting my parents off the worry train, I announced I'd move out and sell the marital mansion, too. Many bad memories. Milo paused, then smiled that first night smile all distance erased. Perfect. His cheer stung, reminding me he's just a rented actor. So pretty, how is he not famous? Probably has fangirls by the dozen. We're merely employer and employee. Still, when his fingers threaded mine I didn't pull away. Maybe because when humiliation hit, someone stepped between me and the crowd. Let me steal 5 minutes of pretend safety. Chase blocked our path. Hazel, moving out? Why? I stared. This is the house we bought to marry in. We split, the wedding's dead. I'll explain to our parents, no reason to stay. Seeing Milo holding my hand, his face mottled purple. You're taking him home? I beamed. Milo leaned in, smug as a brand new boyfriend. Hazel dumped you for me and still pampers me, unlike someone stuck at good friend. Afraid he'd collapse from rage, I towed Milo away. From the balcony Tessa, newly retrieved, went paper white. Just a good friend? Back at my parents' estate, the high fizzled out. Your ride's coming? I asked. The air cooled, his smile hollowed. Yeah. Go on in. I had zero right to make him stay, my life is a circus. Okay. I should feel free, yet every task drifted through my head like fog. Mom and Dad whispered that Chase had ruined me, they tiptoed around the house. I told myself I'd relearn solitude, until Chase texted asking to meet. Suddenly alive, I dialed the old number. A stranger picked up. Fine. I should have felt nothing but relief now that those two were finally out of my life. Yet whatever I did, my mind wandered. Mom and Dad were convinced I was brooding over Chase, they tiptoed around me and privately cursed him for ruining their daughter. I'd told myself that once I got used to being alone again, everything would be fine, until Chase texted asking to meet. Suddenly I felt alive, dialing his old number with ridiculous excitement. A stranger answered. When Chase, face crumpled with guilt, begged me to fake a pregnancy so people I'd label Tessa easy, I finally exploded. Have you no shame, Chase? Her reputation matters, but mine doesn't? You two sleep around, knock her up, and expect me to take the fall, are you insane? Milo, never before confronted by such shamelessness, snorted in disgust. One guy who can't stop chasing someone else's fiancée, one guy who knocks a girl up then won't own it, moral bankruptcy at its finest. You two deserve each other. Guilty already, Chase now lashed out in rage, this has nothing to do with you. Milo's eyes glinted as a plan sparked. Truth is, because of my illness no one wants to date me, yet I'm my parents' only child. Could you perhaps? Tessa's face froze, she feared the scandalous implication and hissed so no one else would hear. What, want me to leave your family an heir? I caught Milo's drift instantly and almost burst out laughing, though I pretended to panic. My folks have always wanted grandchildren. If Tessa died giving birth, who'd raise the motherless child? Chase quivered with rage. What do you take me for? I shot him a look. With the mother gone, how will you explain the baby to your parents? They'd never accept a child that appears out of nowhere. An illegitimate birth would ruin your good name. Chase jabbed a finger at Milo, but he's dying too. I narrowed my eyes, the words stung. Milo chuckled softly, when I'm gone, my family line lives on, Mom and Dad will be over the moon. Tessa ground her teeth, pointing at me, then why not have Hazel provide the heir? Disgust flashed across Milo's face. How could I trap a decent girl with a sick wretch like me? I'd ruin her life. Tessa was apoplectic. Why wasn't she a decent girl? Seeing her pale with fury, Chase rubbed her back. Calm down, you're pregnant. Still livid, she snapped. How dare you scheme to use my baby, shameless. I beamed, leaning against Milo's shoulder. Right? Expecting other people to raise your kid is twisted. Milo sneered. So, why exactly did you come? Chase was struck dumb. By their own logic, they wanted me to become their child's free nanny. An eerie hush fell, even the silent onlookers felt their worldviews wobble, and contemptuous smiles spread. Talk about glaring double standards. Seeing them refuse to give up, Milo shut them down. Bring this up again and I'll mail those photos of you two on the sofa to your parents. Then the mess won't land on me. I marveled to myself, bravo. Forward planning at its best, Milo. Once outside, afraid he and I might drift apart, I hurriedly added him on WhatsApp. Milo looked delighted. Thinking of our future, I studied his pale face, tentatively took his hand and said, why wait? Let's swing by the hospital, maybe your illness is just a misdiagnosis? He blinked in surprise, I thought, then he stopped mid-sentence. Realizing I still worried about his coughing blood, he didn't refuse. Being cared about felt good. After the tests confirmed he merely coughed blood now and then and was otherwise strong as an ox, I shrugged and accepted it. He'd probably exaggerated to mess with them, strange diseases exist, after all. Soon I heard Chase's name again. Word was Tessa's secret was out. Chase wailed that she had only months to live and begged to look after her. Yet a hospital visit for severe morning sickness revealed she, and the baby, were perfectly fine. With the firm in chaos, the Ashfords had no time for their son's love triangle. Chase felt duped. He had sacrificed everything for her, and she was fine. People sneered behind his back, hoodwinked, led by the nose, the butt of every joke. Rumors claimed the affair had dragged on for ages. The dying stunt was simply to crown her the new. Some said their former grand declarations of love now looked cheap. I assumed pregnancy would keep Tessa quiet. Instead she waddled into my office in broad daylight and, in front of everyone, dropped to her knees, tears shimmering. Hazel, please ask your boyfriend to let Chase off. For old time's sake. Impress. Eve, one sentence, buckets of insinuation. So, Milo was squeezing Chase's family business? Nice. I swallowed a cheer. I cleared my throat, looking even sadder than she. Tessa, business is business, some deals close, some don't, hardly targeting anyone. Besides, I added, eyeing her stilettos, why wear heels while pregnant? A fall could cost you the baby. Without that child, how will you ever marry Chase? Because I sounded so distraught, every eavesdropper heard. Pitying eyes flipped to scandalized. Wow, pregnant before marriage, and the guy had been someone else's fiancé? Bold. Tessa's face twisted, she hadn't expected such steel. Perhaps my words hit home, her belly cramped. Someone screamed, look, she's bleeding. Is she miscarrying? Tessa went white. Ah, my stomach, my stomach. I frowned, guessing it wasn't an act. The baby was her ace. As I reached for my phone, Chase burst in, hair wild, eyes blazing. Hazel, what did you do to Tessa? Standing right beside me, a male colleague rolled his eyes. Your girl came picking fights in heels, then you blame others? Birds of a feather. I gave him a grateful smile, then met Chase's bloodshot glare coolly. Instead of yelling, call 911. Milo dashed in, breathless, worry written across his face. You okay? Did they hurt you? Seeing I held the upper hand, he still came, asking first about me. My heart melted. I took his hand. I'm fine. Take me home. He looked startled, then blurted, okay. We left without a backward glance. Later I learned Tessa lost the baby, apparently something she ate. Chase raged that she'd killed his child, then wailed that he'd given me up for her. I snorted and tuned them out. A cheater is a cheater, no matter the girl. After that day Milo showed up even more, dropping affectionate lines, nudging me to drop my guard. I saw the love in his eyes, joy mingled with nameless dread, terror of abandonment again. He sensed it, indulged my pace while quietly tightening the screws on Chase's family business. Thanks to them, my road to a wife is endless, he'd joke. Yet drop by drop, stone wears away, hearts soften. Even my parents urged me to quit stalling. Chase was awful, but look ahead. That boy is good, if you won't have him, say so. Half my friends want him for a son-in-law. Panic veered to indignation, no way. Mom smiled knowingly. I know you, possessive as a dragon. One glance from another girl and you sulk. Make it official so your dad and I can relax. They feared I'd given up on the future. Once, maybe. Now one name could make my heart bloom and everything else blur. Alright, I'll talk to him. But timing mattered. I couldn't just blurt, will you be my boyfriend? So I waited, until Milo's birthday. By then he'd told me everything. The actor had been a friend, Milo himself couldn't act. His family owned a garden variety listed company, he could idle for life if he wished. When I heard, I teased, so you liked me all along and staged this to get close? He didn't deny it. He lifted my hand to his lips and said matter-of-factly, absolutely. You're amazing, the fool who threw you away is blind. My nose stung. Meeting him felt like a miracle. Still I wondered, why hadn't he existed in my last life? He'd appeared as if from nowhere. After hauling tipsy Milo to his room, I asked again when he'd fallen for me. He rolled over, pinning me gently, kissed my forehead, eyes full of longing. A long, long time ago. Under that gaze memories of my past life flooded back and I felt abruptly wronged, tears slipping out. Then why didn't you come when they bullied me? Flustered, he kissed the tears from my eyes to my lips. Sorry. If I hadn't been overseas, you wouldn't have faced that alone. Don't cry, it's my fault. I should have come back sooner instead of letting you run off abroad. Abroad? I gasped, forgetting my tears. That had happened in my previous life. Could he? Realization stunned me, relieved yet heartachy. I hadn't been worthless, someone had cherished me all allo. Ing. Thank goodness you came back. I'm here now. We married soon after. 3 years with Chase and I'd barely agreed to an engagement, 3 months with Milo and my head was full of wedding plans and forever. That's what meeting the right person does. When Milo learned I'd been reborn, he worried Chase and company might still darken my mood. But with someone better beside me, why spare a second for extras? The past can't be chased, the future is bright. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the story, like and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts, drop them in the comments, subscribe for more, and see you next time.